The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
And hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Thursday episode of Running Point. We are quickly getting through the first week of January. It's already Thursday, and this is Anthony Hartwig with you for another episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Brought to you, as always, by our good friends, top right-hand corner of that screen, Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same here on this show every single day. And, man, we're in for a good one today. We have a recap of a really good night of basketball last night. Had some boys, had some girls action. Good mix of both. We're going to, of course, preview the night that is tonight. We have a lot of games on the network tonight. And then we will have a player profile today as well. It's one of the ways that we go the extra mile for you here on Running Point. We always like to highlight players and coaches from across the YSN family. We have a player profile today with another Howland girls basketball player. It's a senior. We go back to Howland. We've already talked to two of them, and now you're going to hear from Mia Barish as well today, as her player profile will be featured on today's episode of Running Point. That's all coming up. But first, as always, let's get into that recap. Let's dive into the night that was and jump into what went down in girls and boys basketball, which means we have to bring up the scoreboard on ysnlive.com, which is always brought to you by Burnett Pool Spas and Hot Tubs. This is a great tool for the YSN fans, whether you're at one of our games or you're watching one of our broadcasts or you're doing both, which I think is a great idea. Have a game open on your phone while you're at a game. Either way, you don't want to look away for too long, and the YSN scoreboard is a great, easy way to see live updated scores of your favorite teams. We have a team behind the scenes that is diligently working to make sure these scores are as live updated as possible. And they do that so you don't have to wait till midnight to wait for the final scores to come in. YSN scoreboard can be found at ysnlive.com/scores. And it is brought to you, as always, by Burnett Pools, Spas, and Hot Tubs. Let's get into yesterday's action. We will start with Ashtabula Lakeside and Grand Valley. It's the Mustangs that get the win, 60-23. AAC play started last night, and everyone was so excited for it. And Canfield is the first team that gets a little bit of a step up in the conference. Boardman, against Canfield, in Canfield. Boardman is the one that gets to step up in the conference. Canfield had the lead. Boardman said, you know what? I'm sick of you having a lead, and they came back and they got the win. Boardman had been struggling against Canfield as a program for quite some time, and they come back and get a win on the road. Tough to come back on the road and get a win, but they were able to do it as they were down, I think by 4 or 5 going into that fourth quarter, and the Spartans find a way. And I think one of the big keys to Boardman getting a win, as I look at the numbers that came in for this game, one of the big keys is they were balanced on offense. I think one of the things that held Boardman back against Hilliard-Davidson, they still were able to win that game, but their offensive balance wasn't there. It was throwing everything off a little bit. That's why you saw Boardman only score 29 points. And I said it before, by the way, the Hilliard-Davidson, probably one of the best defensive teams we've seen on the network so far as the games that we've covered. Very good defensive play in Hilliard-Davidson. That's why they have a winning record when they only average 31 points a game. But you look at the stats, Mackenzie Riccatelli did what she always does, 17 points. She's good for that. But then you had Sam Dubel with 12. You had Barrow with 7. She also had 11 rebounds for Boardman. MC Worth got into the game. Ava Freeborough had 5 points. You had other contributions. You had balance on offense, and although those 5 points might seem like it's not a lot, but when you're having a couple of girls score 5 and 4, and you have that balance on offense, and it's not just Mackenzie Riccatelli scoring 22 and the rest of the team scoring 7, like we saw against Hilliard Davidson. You can have a pretty good offensive output when everyone else is kind of contributing, and that's when Boardman said it's best. It has the girls that can contribute. Maybe not 3 or 4 girls that can go out there and score 15 to 20 points per, but when you have a couple of girls that can score 5 to 10 points per, and then you add that to the fact that Mackenzie Riccatelli is more times than not going to get you at least 15 points, you're gonna be really tough to beat, really tough to defend. On Canfield's side, Cammie Dill had 16. She's coming into her own, man. Talking to Coach Real, she had a tough game against Stowe in the game before the West Branch game. And I think she was, Coach Real said she was kind of hard on herself, and she kind of had to dig deep and got back on track. And she had a great game against West Branch in Canfield's win. And she played really well against Boardman. 16 points is, I think, her season high for the Cardinals. You also had Cammie Ritz get into the scoring. She was able to get into double figures. And Canfield was able to do a lot of good things, but not good enough as Boardman gets the win 46-41, the final score there as we move on. And Boardman has the 1-0. Now it's Boardman, Fitch, and Howland at the top of the AAC with 1 win in the conference. And we saw down there right below Boardman's score. We'll talk about it a little bit later, but Fitch got the win over Warren Harding with a strong second half performance. Edison got the loss. I'm sorry. Saw that wrong. Lost to Conotton Valley, a tough one, 47-44. The Potters get back on track with a win on the road against Wellsville. They win 46-24, the final score there. You have Ursuline winning round 1 of the Holy War. I was at this game, 47-24. And one of the big things that happened in this game, Moody's best perimeter shooter, in my opinion. Sam Rotuno got two quick personal fouls. They had to sit her on the bench for most of that first quarter, and about a half of the second quarter. And it seemed like Ursuline's defense, without the threat of that perimeter on the floor, really packed in the inside, made entry passes really tough. Driving lanes were cut off. Their defense was really, really turning up the pressure because San Martino is also one of their better ball handlers. You have Sophia Diorio, who is obviously their point guard, does a lot of great things, but Rotuno always brings a calmness to their offense, and not having her on the floor early because of 2 quick personal fouls kind of put Mooney in a hole. They scored first, 3-0. Mooney was up. And then Ursuline went on a 14-0 run and just controlled the tempo from that point on. It was really Ursuline's game from the jump. There was never a point when you thought Ursuline might be in trouble. Lily Scott did her thing. Kennedy Carpenter definitely played well. One of the girls that I thought really actually had a very good game, and I was impressed with the way she played. Only had 5 points on the stat sheet, but Meredith Gray had a handful of blocks, played really good defense. She's long, she's athletic, really hard to drive against, but she's also, like I said, she's athletic enough to go out there and defend, guards if she has to, and she did that a couple of times in this game. And then she finds ways to score. So her passing ability was really good. It's hard to defend her passing because she has those long arms that can get right over a defense. So she made a lot of good extra passes in the paint, passing up good shots for great shots. Love to see that out of a senior. Very physical player, actually fouled out, in the fourth quarter. I don't mind fouling out every now and then, especially if you're sending a message that you're going to be physical. And, that was something probably knocked on Meredith Gray, in the last couple of years before the senior season that, you need to be a little bit more physical. And this year, she is playing very physical, very in your face defense. Not afraid to pick up a foul here and there if it means sending a message that I am here. She had one block from behind that was like, oh my word, so she played really well. I was impressed with Meredith Gray. Lily Scott, like I said, did what she was supposed to do, what she's always capable of. Kidney Carpenter played really well. I also liked what I saw from the bench players. Brooklyn Brown, Nia Burney, they both had really good games off the bench for Ursuline. They both scored 6. So when I'm talking about balance for Boardman, I think Ursuline's the same way. They're 6-5 on the season. They had a couple of tough losses in a row there, but now they're back on track with 2 wins at the South Range Holiday Hoops Classic, a win over Mooney. Ursuline seems like they're putting things together. They're really balanced on offense. They're finding ways to score, and they're finding more people to score. One of the girls that was a hero in their win over St. Joe's on Friday night at South Range was Carly Casey, and they didn't really need her shooting last night. So when you look at that and you look at someone who can step up, absolutely can step up. Last night was more of a inside, drive kind of game against Mooney, and that's what they did. That's what the game plan was. That's why Kidney Carpenter had a big game. That's why the drivers and the slashers of Brooklyn Brown and Nia Burney and even Meredith Gray got 5 points. Lily Scott got most of her points off the dribble. So they didn't need the spot up perimeter shooting. That wasn't a part of the game plan, but that was okay because they have such a balanced offense that they don't need to hinge on those 10 points a game that Carly Casey can get if you need her to on the perimeter. It just wasn't part of the game plan. So I was really impressed with Ursuline's ability to say, hey, you know what, Mooney, they struggle off the dribble. We're going to go off the dribble. We're going to get the ball to some more of our drivers, one of the girls that, create their own shots. And man, they did that really well. Ursuline rolls 47-24, the final score there. And Ursuline has a game against Warren Harding on Saturday, the team that we talk about next, which is Austintown Fitch, winning that game by a big final, 51-16. But this was a closer game at halftime, and Austintown Fitch found a switch to turn on in the second half and just cruised all the way to a win, big win in the AAC. Now there's a big one on Saturday. Fitch, Canfield trying to bounce back from their first loss in the conference. Fitch undefeated. They're looking really, really good. Got the 2 wins in the South Range Holiday Hoops Classic as well. They were able to beat a very good Green team by 4 in that last game that they played at South Range. Canfield, you could argue their last couple wins have been ones where, that they found that luck that we were talking about with Scotty a little bit, the buzzer beaters. And when you're playing close games, sometimes it doesn't go your way. So Canfield trying to find just ways to separate themselves a little bit. So it's going to be a fun one, I think, in Austintown Fitch on Saturday. Ty Bartels and I have the call for that one. I'm kind of jealous, but it'll be a really good game. Birds versus Falcons, Cardinals and Fitch going at it in Austintown on Saturday for round 2 of the AAC. And Howland, who was not in action in the AAC last night, they're going to be a team that also is going to have a big factor in this AAC. Remember, they're 1-0. They have the win over Warren Harding a couple weeks ago in their Tony Ross Invitational. So Howland still has to play Boardman and Canfield and Fitch twice and Harding again. So Howland will be in there, and they're going to have something to say too. Cornerstone Christian, they were able to beat Orange 60-22. The final score there. Jackson Milton, their first year back from being on a 1-year hiatus, gets another win on their belt. 59-12, a big win over Lordstown for the Blue Jays. Talking about Howland, their girls were in action on the road against a very good Green Bulldogs team, and Green able to get the win over Howland, 61-47, a tough one for the Tigers. But we saw Green in 2 straight games on Thursday and Friday in the Holiday Hoops Classic. They're a very good basketball team. But now you look and you say, well, Austintown Fitch beat Green and Howland lost to Green. What does that do for the scope of the AAC and how we look at it and how we kind of predict it? I'm not a matchup to matchup guy. I think every game's different, and I think if you let Green get off and play their style of basketball, they can turn a game like this into you. But um, a tough one for Howland, and they're going to have to get back into the conference. That schedule, second half of the year for the Tigers, does not get any easier. So you got to go back. That was the second loss of the year. Both of them on the road. Both of them against teams up pretty far away. In Akron and now in Green. So interested to see how the Tigers bounce back from that. Talking about bouncing back, more West Branch bounces back from their first two losses of the season in a row. They go to Minerva. They take care of business against the Lions, 59-13. West Branch gets on track. They had 21 points from Sophia Gregory to lead them. And West Branch, they're never going to stay down for too long, even if you find them in a losing streak. Salem, they actually get a huge win on the road at Alliance. They go and beat the Aviators 50-46 in the EBC. So a big win for Salem there as their program tries to find their footing. We go to boys basketball. It is Latonia getting their second win of the year over Lordstown. And this is a 66-39 victory. Did some research last night because that was obviously a big margin of victory for Latonia. 27 points. That's the largest margin of victory for a Latonia boys basketball team since 2018. It was the 2017-18 season. In February of that one, right at the end of the year, they were able to beat Heartland Christian by more than 27. And that was the last time that the Latonia had a win that big when you talk about win margin. They've had a win since. They've had a couple of 5 and 6 and 7 win seasons from that season to now. But a big win margin for the Bears, and obviously the second win of the season. So the Bears looking for some momentum. They have Columbiana next on Friday. JFK looked so strong in their game against Badger, 78-41. All Warren JFK. No doubt about it in this one. They got the win. They were cruising the whole time. And this was a 1-loss Badger team coming to town. And JFK just kind of, I think, took their big step in Division 4 and said, hey, you know what? This is a Division 4 team that's going to be, a top-ranked team in the district, and we're going to show our muscles a little bit, flex on them a little bit. And JFK did that. They are going to travel next to Lake Center Christian. I'm interested to see how JFK does against them because that's one of the better teams in that Portage County with Lake Center Christian. East Palestine gets the edge over Sebring, 51-50, a great game between the Bulldogs and the Trojans. As the Bulldogs get a big win for their program by 1 point. Edgewood comes into Brookfield and gets the win over the Warriors, 68-50. Final score there. We saw Campbell hold off Girard in a 10-point win, 50-40, the final score. And then we also got to see LeBray beat Hubbard 68-54. This was Coach Chad Kaiser's 300th career victory at LeBray. So congratulations to him. What an accomplishment there. They've had so much success at LeBray since he started coaching. They've went to state tournaments. They've won plenty of conferences. They've been considered a couple of years the best team in the area. I remember the first time LeBray was ever on YSN. It was the first winter of YSN. They came and they played South Range in South Range. It was before LeBray was a YSN team. So obviously if you go and listen, it was an audio only broadcast because that was even before we figured out the video thing. You go and listen to that game. Me and DJ Oakley, obviously, a little bit of homers towards South Range because they were our team and LeBray wasn't. But what a basketball game going into overtime. And that'll be one of the memories that is locked into my mind when I talk about my calls at YSN. I remember a very close play happening like right in front of our table. The only game I believe that we've ever called from the floor at South Range. We had to move to the floor because there was so much media there. This was such a hyped game. There were newspaper tables set up in the mezzanine where we usually broadcast. And so we were on the floor. And I remember a very close play where I believe it was Jackson Anderson went to save a ball right in front of the out of bounds line. And, some people say his foot was on the line. Some people say it wasn't as he jumped up to to save a ball. And I remember like watching it as it unfolded right in front of our eyes, literally. So LeBray was good then. They're good now. They look like a very good basketball team. One of the only boys teams that I've seen live. Now, I haven't seen every boys team live, but I have seen LeBray live, and they have the knack to beat you in different ways. And I love basketball teams that are able to do that. They have guards that can drive. They have guards that can shoot. They have a good post presence. So when you have a basketball team that you can't just say, hey, if we take away their shooting ability, then we're going to be okay. Or, hey, if we take away their ability to drive off the dribble and attack the basket, we'll be okay. Or if we have, if we take away their ability to dominate in the post, we'll be okay. You can't do that with LeBray because they have a good post player and good post presence. They have good shooters. And then they have a couple of guards that are really good at just attacking the rim and going off the dribble. So it's hard to defend LeBray because of that. There's so many ways they can beat you. So you can't take away their one strength. Overtime in Wyndham. Wyndham came all the way back from being down by, I believe, 14 and tied the game at the end of regulation, but then Waterloo kind of turned back the clock a little bit and went back to their dominant ways earlier in the game as they win overtime 57-44, the final score there. That was in Wyndham. What a game there for the Vikings to get the W. We have Garrettsville Garfield. They got the win over Berkshire, 57-53. Big win for the G-Men on the road. That's a tough place to go in Berkshire, in Badger country. We saw Fairport Harding beat Conneaut in a high-scoring game, 93-66. Final score there. And then Lutheran West, one of the best teams in Division III, they beat Orange by the final score of 78-41, the final score there. So that's your recap of the action from last night. What we're going to do is we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we have a player profile, the feature on today's show, Mia Barish from Howland. That is coming up after our break on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
Craftsmanship to us is 60 years of pride and dedication.
Passed down from generation to generation.
The hardwood floors that your kids take their first steps on.
The solid wood doors you quietly close at night.
The things we create day in and day out are the products that end up turning your house into a home.
At Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, uncompromising quality and craftsmanship built our business.
And it will keep us moving forward for generations to come.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means we want to take care of the community that takes care of us too.
And we have to work together always. And that's how you stay in business for 40 years.
You know, I love being a helper because when I help somebody, it makes me feel good.
It means a lot that I can make a difference in others' lives.
So I will do everything I can and just being there for them every step of the way.
I want them to know within the first 5 minutes that they could depend on me. That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
As Comco celebrated 70 years in 2022, we have much to be thankful for. We are proud of the Comco culture as we serve our customers with Comco Care with our premier customer service, quality parts, and on-time delivery. The partnerships we have with our customers and our community are second to none. We thank you for your continued support. We are proud to be part of this community and will continue to offer great jobs for great people.
Change. This one word can make you break out in a cold sweat. But with change comes wisdom, experience, and understanding. At Myers Family Insurance, we can help make changes in Medicare, insurance, and retirement a positive experience for you and your family. We've gone through changes, like our new office and new faces to help our family of clients too.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance. Check us out online at myersfamilyins.com or find us on Facebook.
Your culinary adventure awaits at Legends Food and Drink. Experience a welcoming ambiance while you explore our appetizing menu featuring over 20 meals under $20 and over 30 lunches for $12 or less. Our private dining room seat between 10 and 20 at no additional cost. And don't forget our spacious 35-seat bar for your favorite sporting event. Book your special occasion in our elegant banquet room that seats up to 150 comfortably. Legends Food and Drink, a taste you'll remember. Market Street and Route 224 in Boardman.
And welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you as always by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. As promised, we have a player profile to feature today, and we are going back to Howland. We heard from Clea Hoso on Tuesday, and her player profile was featured on Tuesday's show, and now we go back to Howland for another great senior in Mia Barish. So we're going to feature her player profile for you here. What a great player, great athlete, and a lot of under the radar things that Mia Barish does for that Howland basketball team that go way past the score sheet. She's still able to score. She averages just over 5 points per game, so she's able to get in there and score when she has to. But she does a lot of the dirty work inside the paint. You know, a lot of the rebounds come from Mia Barish, a lot of the rim protection, a lot of this toughness. I think toughness of that team is the best way to describe it from Mia Barish. So we're going to highlight her, and here is her player profile on Running Point. Hello, everybody. Anthony Hartwig with you. We have another Howland girls basketball player profile. We're joined by Mia Barish. Mia, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
You are a part of a senior class that we've already talked to a couple of times here in this season. It's one that everyone's returning from last year. You girls have played together so long as a senior group. So our first question is just, what's it like sharing this year with a senior class that you have been so close to and the chemistry is so tight?
It's great. I mean, I've been friends with these girls since third grade in and out of basketball, and it's just great to share this experience with them.
When you were going from last year into this year, what was it like knowing that like everyone was coming back, you didn't lose any seniors, and you could use everything that this roster learned from last year into this year?
I mean, it was great just knowing that we have this experience, and it's really encouraging for this year.
What was it like last year going through that, knowing that, you know, hey, no matter what we have this year, no matter what happens, everybody's going to be back for a senior season?
Yeah, it was good. It was kind of hard last year, but we knew that this year it would help us this year and just give us all the experience we needed.
Now, although you didn't graduate anybody, what is very evident is you brought in some new faces. You brought in some underclassmen to this team. As senior leaders, what's it been like to see them grow and to see them come into this program and take a bigger step, take some bigger roles? What's that been like for you?
It's great to see that, especially to know that next year they're going to have people on this team to fill our spots, and all the girls on this team are really nice, and I like all of them.
So when we talk about the seniors and the leadership they bring, everyone has their own kind of leadership quality. How would you define yourself as a leader? What are some of your leadership qualities?
I feel like I always know every position on the court, and I like to be the person that underclassmen can come and ask questions about what they should be doing and be able to give them the right answer.
You know, next year we're going to be talking to, new senior leaders, new leaders on this team after you graduate. One of the things we're going to ask them is, what kind of impact did these seniors leave? What kind of impact did Mia Barish leave on you as a teammate? What would you hope their answer would be?
I'd hope it'd be good and hope that I inspired them and encourage them to be the best player they can be.
I'll flip that on you because as an underclassman in your freshman and sophomore seasons, you had some really good seniors to look up to and to learn from. Who were some people and some of those seniors that really taught you how to lead?
I would say the most important one to me was Jamie DeSalvo because we played the same position and she was really encouraging and helped me learn a lot.
Let's talk about your growth from that point when you were learning that position to now as a senior. How much have you seen your basketball and your personality kind of change as your high school career has gone on?
I mean, a lot. I feel like I've gotten a lot more confident and comfortable in the position I play for this team.
Where does that confidence come from? Like, what gave you the confidence that you have now your senior season?
Definitely Coach Pounds. He's very encouraging, and all of the players on this team are all very encouraging and positive towards each other.
Yeah, Coach Pounds, you're going to be the first class that he's had for the 4 years. What's it like to be coached by him, and what has he kind of brought to you as a basketball player and as a person?
He's a great coach, and he provides so many opportunities for girls to get better. Like, he opens the gym at 5:30 almost every day, and there's always extra stuff he has available for us, and he's just very encouraging.
If you had to pick maybe one part of your game that he has been the most instrumental in growing, what part of the game would it be?
I would say I always focus on like the little things, and he's been really encouraging and letting me know that like the things I do are important, even though I'm not scoring as much as some of the other girls, but he lets me know that all the other things I do are still just as important.
This Howland team so far this season is off to a tremendous start. You guys have just a one loss in the year, and it was on the road against a very good Hoban team, and it was a very competitive game. What has been the season like? What has this season been like getting to start like this?
It's been great, especially knowing that it's our last season together. It's just been really good, and it's a good way to start the year.
And, talking to a lot of seniors at YS, and we kind of realize that every senior is kind of different, and when it hits them, that it's their senior year. When that reality hits, has it hit you yet? Has it come into reality that it is your senior year?
No, it definitely hasn't. It has not hit yet.
You know yourself better than anybody. When do you think it'll start to hit you? When do you think you'll start to really feel that it's your senior year?
I think the hardest time it'll hit me is definitely going to be senior night, like when I'm finally going to be the senior, not just the underclassman that gets it ready.
What do you think you're going to be going through that senior night? What kind of emotions are going to hit you?
It's definitely going to be really sad, kind of bittersweet. I don't know, just because these girls I've grown up with, so it's going to be sad.
Yeah. Those senior nights also give you the chance to reflect a little bit, maybe take some time to think about your career and think about some of the great things you've done with this team. What are going to be some of your favorite memories that you have with this program?
Definitely the friendships I've built out of it are going to be at the top, but also we've done a lot of fun things. Like we went to Cedar Point last summer and we went to the Cavs Stadium. That was a really cool experience too.
Playing with those seniors for as long as you have, chemistry has not had to be worked on too much. I'm sure that you guys as a class are very tight-knit and you're very close. But chemistry with the team entirely, what kind of things does this program do to build team chemistry and to get everybody on the same page?
We do a lot of team bonding stuff. Like we have a lock-in every year at the school, and we go out to eat, and we just do a lot of fun things together.
What's your favorite team bonding exercise? Like, which one is the one where you get the most excited about?
Probably the lock-in at the school. Those are always fun.
All right, of the 6 seniors, which one do you think is the closest to your personality type? Which one is the most similar to you?
I would probably say Jessie DeSalvo. We have similar personalities.
We're gonna flip that. Which one do you think is like the opposite of you?
That's hard. Maybe Kirsten, because she's very quiet, but she's still once you get to know her, she's really funny.
When you think of a teammate that has the best music taste, and which one do you think has the best taste in the playlist?
I would say Gia Hozo and Amia Silvers are tied for the best.
What about style? What teammate has the best style?
I think I do.
Oh yeah, I like it. Don't fret from putting yourself on that list. Which teammate like is one of those, they think they have it. They think they have a lot of style. They dress like they do, but you're looking at them like,
Oh
not
my
on my
gosh, I can't say that. I think everyone has good style.
list. What about the teammate that can make you laugh no matter what the situation is?
Definitely Gia. She's really funny and is always making people laugh.
I'll do the opposite of that too. Which one takes is the hardest to crack as far as comedic? It takes everything really seriously, always in there, always focused. What teammate embodies that kind of mindset the most?
I don't know. I feel like we're all we find a lot of things funny. I don't know. If anyone, I'd say I'm the most serious out of everyone, but it's still not that much.
You ain't that serious. Come on. What are some things that you do with this team that you think is unique, or you think that hey, this is special. This is something that maybe other teams might not be able to do.
I would just say our friendship, I've been friends with the same girls and we hang out outside of basketball and it's just been great.
I want to transition from your teammates to your family. Talk about your family and what makes them special to you, and what are some things that you really love about the family that you have.
My family is very supportive and they've always encouraged me to be the best basketball player I could be. And my dad, he coached us in elementary school and he's coached me in AAU up until last year. So they've just been really encouraging and helpful in my basketball career.
Love hearing about the dad coaches. What was the dynamic like having your dad as a coach in the off season in AAU, like you said? What was that dynamic like for you?
I mean, it was great just to have someone pushing me all the time, but sometimes it sucked during practices because he was always extra hard on me. But I feel like that's made me be a great basketball player and a good coaches player.
I want to transition and talk about your future as well. We don't want to see you go, but that's the reality. You're going to graduate Howland. What are some of your future goals that you have after you graduate?
I plan to go to Ohio University for nursing. I had the opportunity to play basketball, but I really wanted to focus on my major.
When you think about Ohio U and going to Athens, what drew you to that campus? What made you want to be there and to spend the next 4 or 5 years of your life down there at Ohio University?
My older sister goes there, so that was definitely helpful, and I kind of have experiences there, and it's I feel like it's the perfect distance. It's not too far, but it's not too close, and the campus is really pretty. I just love it down there.
And then you said nursing is a career path you want to go into. What made you passionate about that? What was something that drew you to want to pursue a career as a nurse?
I've always liked helping people, and there's a couple people in my family who are in the medical career, and with nursing, there's just so many opportunities and job options that come with it.
Since you're not going to be playing basketball in the next level, and you're going to be hanging up the shoes after your senior season is over, when you look back at all the work you've put in and all the time you've put into this sport, what are you most proud of? What are you most proud of, the things that you've been able to do with it?
I would just say all the work I've put into it. Basketball is all year round for me, and I feel like I've done everything I can to be the best player that I can be.
Now, here's a question I have for all the players that decide not to play after high school. You can't turn that competitiveness off. You can't just turn off that need to go out and compete and that need to be competitive. How are you going to supplement that? What kind of things do you think you can get competitive in?
Oh, I don't know. It is going to be hard giving it up for sure, especially being competitive, but I feel like I can revert that onto my grades and try to be the best student I can. And I'll definitely start going to the gym again to find a athletic outlet.
In what ways do you think you can keep basketball as a part of your life, even though you're not playing it?
I can always watch the games. Like in college, I'll go to their games and watch, and it'll just always be a part of my life that I can look back on.
Could you ever see yourself following in your dad's footsteps and maybe being Coach Mia Barish?
I definitely could see myself doing that at some point. Yeah, like if I have kids and coaching their teams, that would be cool.
If you became a coach, how close to your dad's coaching style do you think you would be? Do you think you'd be a different coach than him, or do you think you'd be pretty similar to how he coaches?
I think I'd be pretty similar.
Then we talk about, Athens. We talked about all the things you're going to do and the nursing career you're going to have. My last question for you, I guess it's not even a question, it's just a prompt. I want to give you the chance to thank all the people that have been around you, the people that have been supporting you throughout your career. I want to give you that time to shine a light on the people in your life, and whoever you think deserves a shout out, I'm going to give you the time to do it.
Okay, definitely my family, because they've always been really supportive and go to all my games. And then my dad, especially, for coaching me and making me the player I am. And all my coaches and friends for being supportive and just being around.
All right, Mia, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We appreciate the time, and we wish you the best of luck the rest of your senior season. We can't wait to talk to you again real soon.
Thank you for having me.
Mia Barish from Howland, we thank her for her time. What a great interview that was. It is also on the website, so if you missed a part of it and you want to see it in its entirety, you can find it at ysnlive.com, also on our YouTube page. If you go over to our YouTube page and you're watching that interview, or you're watching this show, or you're watching any of our content on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button if you feel so obliged to. Subscribers help us build the algorithm on YouTube to get our videos out to as many people as possible. We have a lot of content on that YouTube page, whether it be post-game interviews, coaches' corners, player profiles, game highlights, some full games. You never want to miss a minute of the action, so make sure you're subscribed. And if you do subscribe, make sure to also hit that notification bell right next to the subscribe button, because you don't want to miss anything we post. YouTube's algorithm can be kind of wonky, so it's the only surefire way to make sure you know every time we post a video is to hit that little bell. And that is when, if I was really fancy, I'd have that sound effect go up on the show right now, the ding ding, and a little notification bell would pop up on the screen. But I'm not that fancy, and I hope you subscribe and notify yourself regardless. Let's go into the scoreboard for tonight and see what's going to be in action tonight across the YSN family. We went over last night's scores, so now we clean the slate and go down to the bottom of this page where you can find all the dates for our scoreboard, including tonight, January 4th. You click on that and you scroll back on up. Let's see what's going on. It is girls' night on the network, all girls basketball all the time, and we start with a battle inside the NE8. Lakeview travels to Girard. Beaver Local is going to go and host St. Clairsville. LeBray hosts Campbell Memorial tonight. Ashley Buller St. John has a matchup with Southington Shocker. Champion goes to Liberty as they try to get their 9th win of the year and bounce back from their first conference loss last time out in the MVAC to Crestview. Hubbard is going to be hosting Cheney. Crestview tries to stay undefeated in the MVAC. They are traveling to Garrettsville Garfield. We have Latonia traveling to Columbiana tonight. Their boys will do the same thing tomorrow. Lowville goes to Sebring. We have Archbishop Hoban hosting Lutheran East tonight. That should be a fun one in the castle. Lisbon will host Wellsville. Newton Falls travels to Brookfield tonight. Niles goes to Struthers. Poland, South Range. That's always a rivalry inside the NE8. Round 1 in the Thriller Dome at the Raiders' place. Southern Local goes to Valley Christian tonight. United goes to East Palestine. You have Southeast going to Warren JFK, and the Eagles shooting so well, they hope that continues tonight. Jackson Milton, fresh off the win last night, goes back into league play with a road trip to McDonald. We have Mohawk hosting Beaver Falls tonight as well. Lordstown will be hosting Badger as Badger hits the road. This is their first trip back in action since they beat Brookfield before Christmas. So Badger coming back from winter break with a trip to Lordstown. Pymatuning Valley goes to Matthews tonight. And last but not least, the Wyndham Bombers, they travel to Maplewood tonight for some action there. Now that you know all the games, let's go into what is going to be on the network and what announcers you'll be able to hear tonight as we hop into our games at a glance spreadsheet. And we see that tonight is full of games. We will start with Girard at Lakeview. I'm going to fix this real quick so you can see. Girard at Excuse me there. That was unexpected. Lakeview at Girard. Excuse me there too. Lakeview at Girard. The Lakeview crew going to have that there. Sam Ballast and Jake Nicholas on the call for that one. As always, Gary Burton and Scott Rogers going to be on the call for Beaver Local, hosting St. Clairsville. Matt Marr and Jordan Barber going to be going to LeBray for Campbell and LeBray. We have Ashley Bula St. John. Sam Torres is going to be on the call there for their matchup with Chalker. Cheney going to Hubbard, and that one will be covered by Zach Svensson. Crestview goes to Garfield tonight. The school broadcast network has that one covered for you. Ty Bartell is going to be going to Archbishop Hoban. You have Joe Eusebio at Columbiana for their matchup with Latonia inside the conference. Lisbon and Wellsville, DJ Yoakley will be on the call for that one. You have Noah Ricks traveling to Brookfield with Newton Falls for that one. Bob and Dora Zaney going to be on the call in Struthers for the NE8 matchup between the Dragons and the Wildcats. I will be in the Thriller Dome at South Range. Poland and South Range squaring off. Poland's trying to stay undefeated in the conference and win another NE8 as they're on the track to do so. But South Range coming off a big win over Springfield. And so both teams looking to keep that winning mojo going. After that, we have Chris Sigler. He will be in East Palestine as United travels there for a matchup inside the EOAC. And Siggy will be in that one. Dom O'Brien going to be at JFK for their battle with Southeast. We have Matt Porter going to McDonald for the matchup between Jackson Milton and McDonald. Eric Hughes is going to be at Mohawk for their matchup with Beaver Falls. And then Steve Hodge, last but not least, we love Steve. He's going to be at Valley Christian for Southern and Valley. So that should be a fun one for Hodge to be at as well. So that is a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 games covered on the network tonight. All of them live, all of them video broadcast. Tell me who you think can beat that. Some say JV effort on YSN. I don't think so. 17 games in one night. That is varsity effort all the way through. And if anyone tells you anything different, I don't know what to tell you. They're lying to you, man. There's no other way. There's no one else that doesn't like us. So make sure to hitch your wagon to YSN tonight. Check out one of the 17 games. YSNlive.com/live is where you can find it. A big night of girls basketball. And then tomorrow, of course, we'll have the boys basketball and another big night. We have a lot of games tomorrow on the schedule. So don't miss a minute of it. YSNlive.com/live where you can find it. That is it for today's episode of Running Point. We want to thank you so much for tuning in. Running Point always presented and sponsored by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. I'm going to put their logo back up real quick so you know where to go if you're in the market for a new or used vehicle. Make sure to check out Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig signing off. Enjoy the night tonight. Enjoy all the games. 17 of them on the docket. And we'll be back tomorrow from 1 to 2 to recap it all. Thank you so much for tuning in.